With Natlin nearly concluded, we can say for certain that it brought the biggest meta shakeups we've ever seen in Genshin Impact. And in my opinion, there's no reason to expect Krai to be any different. So in this video, we're going to break down the 5 characters that most people are considering pulling during 6.0 to help you decide which one will be the most worth it for your account. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. The 5.8 second half banners featuring Chaska and Mualani are upon us. If you're planning on spending on these or any future banners, let me recommend Loot Bar. I have been personally using Loot Bar for all of my top-ups for over a year, and I have spent thousands of dollars on my account. They are 100% safe, using currency exchange to get you discounts on the crystals that you were going to buy anyways. They have tens of thousands of 5-star reviews and excellent customer service. It is extremely easy to use. Just click the pack that you want, enter your UID as well as your region, press top up now, and you'll get your Genesis crystals in just a couple seconds. Officially minutes, but that only took a couple seconds. With lootbar.gg, you get up to 25% off, and if you join VIP, you get loads of free coupons, so you can save even more. New users will also be able to get a further 10% discount from clicking my link in the description, as well as an exclusive offer just for this channel with a $2 welcome. It is partnerships like these that will allow me to continue bringing the content that I do to you, as well as support my family of 5. And as I said, I've been using them unsponsored for over a year for all of my purchases. So whether you're buying for Genshin or for any other Hoyo games, make sure to click my link to support the channel and your wallet. Ripping the band-aid off right away, there is one character on here that I would recommend that nobody pick up, basically period. Nahida, except for in one team, the Nilou team, has been completely replaced by Llama. She is worse even in things like Alhaitham teams, and of course regular Hyperbloom teams, she's not even close. Nahida isn't better than Llama until all the way Constellation 6. Yes, Llama's just that good. I really do think Llama will be a great pickup for most players because she can make a team just by herself with free stuff on your account. Make sure to check out my Llama guide if you want more information on why she's such a valuable pull. We're going to be focusing on the other characters in this video a lot more because most of you realize now Llama's a good pull, and if you have questions on how things work, you can check out my Llama guide. But yeah, I've said it many times on the channel, and I'm going to say it again, no matter how much people like Nahida, and I like her too, great character, great Archon quest, very cute, she's just a bad pull in 2025. If you already have her, there are some uses, namely the aforementioned Nilou team, and some other stuff we can talk about. But when it comes to actually pulling for her, it's basically just don't. Yelan is quite interesting. I don't think that Yelan is a terrible pull. I generally don't think she's worth it because even in the teams where she was best in slot in, she's even already starting to get power crept out by the likes of Ino, which is wild to say, but I think it'll get even worse when Columbina comes. However, Columbina can only go on one team, so having Yelan might work for a second team, and a lot of teams do use double hydro. Maybe Columbina teams end up using Yelan on them. It's not impossible. So while I don't recommend pulling for Yelan right now, if you wanted to, it's not the worst thing you could do. And if you already have her, she'll probably bring value to your account. It's just like, a primo gem is a primo gem is a primo gem. Is it worth dropping pulls on a character that's basically going to be the 3rd best hydro option for a lot of teams? So anyways, let's talk about the main one that I wanted to say, which is the Arlecchino team. Arlecchino's new best team is Inefa over Vape with Ino, Bennett, and Inefa. Obvious, this team looks close to Melt on paper. On paper, it actually looks a little bit better than Melt, but in practice, I expect Melt to still be a little bit better, but we'll have to test it out and see. And Ino is definitely better than Yelan here starting at Constellation 2. Not only does she allow Arlecchino to vape in AoE much easier, her Elemental Mastery buff, along with the Nod Krai artifact set, especially when you have Inefa on the team as well, just makes it overall a big upgrade. So yeah, do not pull Yelan for your Arlecchino, although you probably weren't anyways because you already had Seatlali for Melt. Next is Llama. Yelan definitely is technically best in slot with Llama, and the team is awesome. Yelan is still also best in slot for Hu Tao, but not in the way you think. I'll have to really do an Ino guide soon because I know Yelan and Inefa is also looking best in slot for Hu Tao. Very, very interesting. I think the same team probably is Klee's best in slot, as it was her best in slot was the same as Hu Tao before with Farina, Yelan, Xilonen, and now it's been replaced with Ino, Yelan, and Inefa. So Inefa is just powerful, I guess. Eula being carried by Yelan Escoffier is her best team, so there you have it. This stuff was a bit difficult to do because Yelan Farina is still technically the best in slot team for Navi and single target, but it feels so much worse in reality than Moeka Bennett. So I'm gonna call Moeka Bennett still the overall best team. That's just how most people feel about it. But technically, if you want to get technical, but I still don't recommend pulling Yelan just for Navia. Raiden has a bunch of options. Double Hydro is definitely a good one. Yelan definitely can be part of that. Depending on your Ayaka investment, Yelan can be best in slot. If your Ayaka is kind of on the weaker side, it can be best in slot, and the stronger your Ayaka is, the better. It also really mostly depends on just the enemy matchups. Do you want to be running the Hydro? Do you want to be running Lali? In the case for Skirk, this applies to Skirk as well. Do you want to be running Shenhe, Chongyun, Mona? Like, there's different stuff that you can run depending on what you want to do, depending on what the enemy. And Yelan can be one of those best in slot options. But again, it's a bit spooky to recommend pulling for Yelan for these characters when the 4th slot is so contested. Generally, a Escoffier wheelchair, Yelan's a big part of it. Escoffier, Farina, Yelan just wheelchairs everything in the game, so I wanted to make a note of that. And Ryo being one of the characters that can wheelchair, although Burst Skirk I think is better than Yelan, but you know, we're getting into some really weird territory when we start talking about Burst Skirk for Ryo. But regardless, Yelan is excellent with Escoffier stuff and all this other stuff as well. And I only put Arlecchino here. It's still kind of good, but I put it here just because it's like, I know it's a free character. And power creeps Yelan at C0. So that's kind of why I have that here. For Nahida, she's in a much worse state than Yelan. It's not that you have no uses for Nahida, but like Yelan has some actual good uses. And so it's actually kind of a nuanced discussion as to whether she's pull worthy. I generally don't think anyone should pull for her. But if you did, it might not be the worst. If you have extra Primo Gems lying around, it might not be the worst. The only problem is that I think the Stygian Onslaught is going to heavily favor Lunar reactions and not Krai reactions. So I really want you to direct your pulls, if you care about clearing the endgame, to the newer stuff. The Lunar stuff is going to be shielded very heavily in Stygian Onslaught. I don't like it. I don't agree with the game design and the way it's going. It's going to be a problem. But spending pulls in Yelan means you're not getting Flynn's, means you're not getting Llama, means you're not getting whoever other future character. So I think you're going to have the most bang for your buck and longevity if you pull for Nod Cry units. You can do Lunar Reaction. And Nahida definitely suffers from that too, but she's also just, you know, worse. It's with Nilou, you know, Nilou, Nahida, Llama, Kokomi is technically the best in slot Nilou team. And despite Nefer, you know, about to basically power creep Nilou and not work with Nilou on the team, if you want to know about that, check out my Nefer video. But basically Nefer converts blooms into her own stacks, and so then Nilou isn't able to bloom. So Nilou, you know, people are saying Nilou's dead, and you know, it's kind of true. Nilou is not worth the pull. But I actually think that Nilou, you know, she could get buffed with Columbina. So if you love Nilou, it's not like the total worst thing ever to go for Nilou, as long as you're getting Llama as well. As long as you're getting Llama and you're using Nilou, you don't need Nahida. Nahida's very replaceable. But if you already have Nahida, you know, then you can use them together and then use Kokomi or even Barbara. They nerfed the bloom damage, so you don't have to build as much healing for your bloom characters as you used to, which is absolutely massive for Nilou teams. And again, I think Columbina could be an upgrade for these teams, so that's nice. Nahida has some usage there, and even though Nilou's not going to be top of the meta, it's still okay. But if you're, you know, again, pinching Primo Gems, definitely just stick to the high value Hyper Bloom Llama, and if you want another upgrade, it should be Nefer, not Nilou, meta-wise. For Alhaitham, Nahida with Alhaitham is still good, but it's not best in slot. It's about 8% behind Llama. So, you know, don't pull Nahida for Alhaitham, but if you already have it, you know, you can decide if that 8% upgrade is worth it to you. By the way, Nahida's C2 does absolutely stack with Llama. So using Nahida in Nilou team with Llama if you get your Nahida to C2, that's a nice crit increase for your blooms. The crits stack together, so that's really cool synergy there. So if you're going for C2 Nahida, there is a chance for you to make it useful. It should be a pretty darn big upgrade to the Llama Nilou teams, because going from a 15% crit rate to 30% is going to be a pretty huge increase to your damage, because 15% crit rate is just not very high. But when you're getting to 30%, more, it's double the crits, right? So it's not double the damage, but it's going to be quite a good amount of damage increase. Okay. But yeah, don't pull, Nahida for Alhaitham. I think Nahida C2 should be better than Llama for C0 for Alhaitham, but that's kind of a niche situation, but that's something to consider. And then yeah, regular Hyper Bloom Llama's so much better. Llama Tighnari is a lot better than Nahida Tighnari. Novelet, you basically never use Nahida there anymore, and same with Sino. So yeah, that's the Nahida situation. And then finally, our boy Flynn's. Is Flynn's going to be a good pull? Is he going to be power crept out of the gate? If you don't have a Nefa, then you kind of need to go for his C1. And if you don't have his Nefa or his C1, he's going to feel a bit underwhelming. However, the first two Stygian onslaughts are both heavily favoring Nod Krai characters, and so he will still be an asset to your account for the first couple Stygian onslaughts, which should get you through to Columbina, who should probably buff him again. So even pulling Flynn's isn't the worst decision you could be making for your account, even at Constellation 0. I don't recommend it unless you simp for Flynn's. Llama is definitely where the smart primos are, where smart money is. Yeah, Llama is who you should be pulling for, but hey, if you love Flynn's, he's going to help you clear some content. He's got a solid free team with, well, I say solid. He's got a free team that includes Ino. And yeah, if you get Inefa, he's going to be quite strong. I still think after testing his Inefa and Ino, or even his Inefa Farina Sucrose team, which is technically his best team, is still a bit worse than Llama's best team, even though Flynn's already has his best in slot partner Nefa, and Llama still doesn't have Nefer. It could be that Nefer is not that good and is just sort of a side grade. That would be surprising to me. I feel like a lot of people would skip Nefer if that were the case, if she wasn't an upgrade to regular Llama Hyper Bloom. So I expect Llama to be, the overall better pull, cheaper way to just get a team going, and then also has the vertical investment upgrade of Nefer, whereas Flynn's already costs 2 units and then requires either more investment from his C1, from Columbina, etc., etc. But still some value because, again, I can't stress this enough, the next couple Stygian onslaughts are heavily Nod Krai favored, and I hope it's not too bad, but it's looking kind of bad. It's looking kind of concerning. So, not pulling for meta, it's something that you may not want to even do. But if you do like to clear the end game, that's sort of what Genshin is really wanting you to do. They're really wanting you to pull the new units, and hopefully they give us some free Nod Krai units to counter this stuff, because it's looking pretty, it's looking a bit concerning right now. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know who you're going for. Check out the podcast down below. Subscribe to this channel while you're down there. And if you don't want to do any of that, totally fine. Just watching the video has been more than enough. Thanks so much. Bye for now.